So originally I was going to wait till the end of the year to do this video because the last one was an end of year video for 2023, but it was heavily requested, so I gotta follow through. I really don't have a long ass intro for this one. I mean, it's a simple ass video. The top 30 individual performances of last season. We have seen plenty of great ones. I mean, Foden was cutting up this season, Vinny was cutting up this season, Bellingham was cutting up this season. Today we put them in order from best to worst, or actually worst to best. Before we start, I just want to get a couple things out the way. Goals and assists is not the only metric for this list. The top 10 isn't just going to be a bunch of hat tricks, okay? Oh, but this guy scored 4 goals. Why isn't he higher? This list is ranking entire performances from players at every position. Also, opposition obviously matters. A hat trick against Inter Milan obviously doesn't hold the same weight as a hat trick against Bournemouth or some other shitty ass team. Also, I just want to make it clear that I have not watched every game from every team in every league this season. I don't even think that's physically possible. So yes, there might be some performances missing here or there. I'm sorry if one of your favorite performances isn't here. If it should have been, then that just means I forgot it. I'm doing my best, but I do have the memory of a special ed goldfish. Okay, I think that's it. Let's get to it. We'll start off with the honorable mentions. KDB and Haaland against Luton is going to be the first one. Yes, I know. 5 goals in a game. Oh my God, that's so crazy. 4 assists. Oh my God, it's insane. Somebody's going to get on my head for making them just honorable mentions, but an FA Cup game against Luton, it was never really going to be that high on this list anyway, let's be real. But it's still very hard to place because they're still insane performances. So honorable mention it is. Kai Havertz against Chelsea at home is also going to be an honorable mention. The brace is cool and all, but I really just like this performance so much, mainly because it was against Chelsea. Celebrating after he scored twice against them in a 5-0 beatdown after all the abuse he got from their fans after leaving is crazy vindication. Other honorable mentions include Rodrigo versus Cadiz, Musiala versus Scotland in the Euros group stage, and Nico Williams against Georgia in the Euros round of 16. There's also Gabriel and Saliba, who put Haaland in a straitjacket 3 different times this season. However, my favorite one was October 8th. Not a single shot. He didn't even get a sniff of goal. 6'4", 200 pounds, getting tossed. Both the Arsenal center backs was on bad timing. They got to get a spot here. They got the best case for best center back pairing in the world, to be honest. I know it says individual performances, but these two are a package deal at this point, so just let me rock. Rodrigo versus Real Betis is another HM. Real Betis is fucking ass, and Rodrigo didn't score or assist, but he was violating that defense. He completed 10 dribbles? Crazy work. He was mainly operating on the left wing this game too, just like the game against Cadiz where he had a goal and 2 assists. I'm telling you, bro, Madrid got a front 3 of left wingers, and it's fucking hilarious. Last honorable mention is going to be Phil Foden against Manchester United at home in March. This guy really loves Manchester derbies, I'm not going to lie. Scored twice in this one. It wasn't really an insane performance outside the 2 goals, but bullying your local rivals at your home stadium with a brace to keep your title push going strong is enough to get you at least an HM. Alright, y'all ready for the actual list? Let's get into it. Number 30 is going to be Martinelli versus Sevilla at home in the Champions League group stage. If you haven't watched this game or didn't see it live, please go do that as soon as possible. If you look in the dictionary and search up the word assault, you'll find a link to this game, because what Martinelli was doing to that right back can only be described as a violent crime. Skinned isn't even enough of a description. He literally just ran right past him 7 or 8 times. Literally. He was barely doing anything fancy. It was just direct abuse. It's like Martinelli activated his Brazilian genes before the game. He did some block shit on the goal line at one point, and I was like, huh? He only came away from the game with 1 assist to show for all that, but to be fair, nobody was really making great runs for a lot of the game. It was a great assist to Saka too. At 29, we got Jeremy Doku against Bournemouth. 4 assists in the game is crazy, and he did score on top of that, but he isn't higher on this list just because it's Bournemouth. Insane performance still. At 28, we have 2 different Harry Kane performances. He had a wild year in the Bundesliga, but still somehow didn't win any trophy at all. Early on in the season, he was dropping hat tricks left and right. The first co-winner of this spot is going to go to his hat trick against Bochum, where they put 7 on their heads, and he also had 2 assists. The other one is going to be a hat trick a month later against Darmstadt, where he only had 1 assist, but they won 8-0, and he had that crazy goal from the halfway line. Honestly, he had a bunch of hat tricks this year that could have been here, but these 2 were the most impressive in terms of the actual goals and assists. Yes, more than the one against Dortmund, in my personal opinion. 27 goes to another striker abusing a bottom feeder team. Martinez put 4 goals on Salernitana's head back in September last year. Now, Salernitana is actually so dreadful that you probably see their logo on the toilet paper after you wipe your ass, but Martinez's super hat trick goes above Kane's spots mainly because he did this in half an hour. 26 is going to go to Declan Rice's dominant performance against Manchester City October of last year. If KDB and Rodri weren't both out, then this would have been a lot higher, but Rodri was suspended and KDB was still hurt, so 26 is all he's going to get. Even so, putting the beats on one of the best teams in the league is going to get you a spot on this list no matter what, especially with his early goal line clearance and numerous counter-stopping tackles. Arsenal came away with the win, and he got man of the match. 25 is Jude Bellingham against Barcelona in October. Now, look, it might seem crazy that this is a little bit low, but if you watch the game, Jude was getting kind of bodied in that midfield. Outside the 2 goals, Gavi was pretty much telling him to hit the weight room. However, scoring a brace in your first Clasico, including a screamer and then a stoppage time winner, makes up for it. Clutchness counts, so he gets the spot. 24 is going to be Rodrigo against Valencia last November. 2 goals and 2 assists. Him and Vinny were cutting up against them. And they're a top 10 La Liga team, so we're finally slowly climbing out of the beating up shitty team section. At 23, I'm going to give it to Ollie Watkins when he shitted on Brighton last September. A hat trick and an assist as the cherry on top against the Brighton team that basically had the majority of their normal starting 11 in at the time. 22, I'm going to give it to Hummels against PSG in the first leg, even though I could really just say both legs here. This dude older than Toni Kroos and he putting Mbappe in a headlock. Best player in the world strapped up back-to-back times by a 35-year-old that was eating bench just 3 months before. Sad work. 21 is going to the face of child labor, but not for any of his Euro performances. Don't get me wrong, he was good across the whole tournament, but a few months before he put Brazil on the grill. It ended up in a 3-3 draw, but Yamal directly contributed to every goal, drawing the penalty on the first one, assisting the second one, and making a great pass that led to the penalty, which gave them the third goal. He was literally frying Wendell the entire game. The same Wendell that strapped up both Saka for Porto and Foden for Brazil not long before this game. Definitely deserves a spot. He got a standing ovation as a Barca player at the Bernabeu. 20 is going to go to Musiala versus United in their first group stage game. I don't know if he got hurt, but they should have never subbed him off because he had Casemiro and the rest of that United midfield and defense on a platter. Don't get me wrong, it's not really too hard to spread United's midfield like ass cheeks, but Casemiro and Eriksen were getting more than spread. You would think Casemiro was the 20-year-old and Musiala was the vet. He looked lost. Musiala only had 1 assist, but don't let that fool you. It was way worse than it looked on paper. 19 is going to go to Diogo Costa against Slovenia in the round of 16 at the Euros. 3 straight penalty saves to win Portugal the game, especially after Ronaldo missed one earlier and was definitely about to get piled on if they lost. That's a different type of clutch. 18 is KDB versus Newcastle. I mean, you can't write a better script than this. He's been out for half the season. Everybody's wondering if he'll come back the same, and then he gets subbed on with less than 15 minutes left with City down 2-1. Scores from outside the box, and then with like a minute left, he slaps the game-winning assist over the top for Oscar Bob. Permanently solidified his position as the most annoying player in the world. Since we're on the subject of clutch super substitutions though, number 18 2.0 is going to Joselu versus Bayern in the second leg. Came on with like 10 minutes left and scored 2 tap-ins to send Madrid to the UCL final. A striker's dream, to be honest. At 17, we got Nico Williams against Barca in the Copa del Rey. This was the game that made me want him at Arsenal. He was all over the place, bro. I lost count of how many times he switched wings. He was bouncing back and forth and grilling motherfuckers on both sides. Assisted the equalizer and then in extra time scored the final goal to put the game away. One of the biggest wins on their way to eventually winning the whole tournament. 16 is going to go to James Rodriguez versus Panama in the Copa America quarters. He won player of the tournament, and this was probably his best performance. All 3 goal contributions came from set pieces, but they were all perfect. The penalty was lifted to the top of the net with insane velocity. The corner was perfectly placed to the far post for the header, and the free kick was taken quickly and the pass placed with insane precision to put Diaz through for Colombia's 3rd goal. Well-deserved player of the tournament. Number 15 is going to go to Foden versus Aston Villa. He scored a couple hat tricks this season, but this one was absolutely better than the one against Brentford. Aside from the fact that the opponent was a top 4 team in the league, I mean, look at the goals themselves. What the fuck? A perfect free kick, a perfectly placed one-touch sweep into the corner, and a fucking rocket from outside the box. Crazy, crazy guy, I'm not going to lie. At number 14, and don't even try to come for my neck when I mispronounce this, because I swear you probably didn't get it right first try either. Mamardashvili against Czechia at the Euros. I don't even know if I said Shaqiri right either. You know what? Fuck it. We moving past this. 11 saves to keep your country's knockout stage hopes alive is absurd. He was out there doing satanic work, and it paid off because they beat Portugal and made it to the round of 16. At 13, though, we're headed back to the Prem with Declan Rice versus West Ham away. This one could have easily been top 10. After winning West Ham a European trophy before leaving for Arsenal, he still gets relentlessly booed on his return to his old stomping ground. So what does he do? 2 assists in the first half, and then to top it all off, slaps in a beauty from outside the box for the 6th goal and a 6-0 murder at their crib. Tough. Number 12, we're back to Phil Foden again. It physically pains me that I have to constantly put City players on here, but hey, it's not as bad as the last one. Nowhere near as bad. Anybody who was here for the 2023 video understands exactly what I'm talking about. Foden's hat-trick against Villa was probably the better performance straight up, but with the added context of it being the last day and they needed a win to win the league, it just pushed this one slightly ahead, especially because he scored a brace in like 20 minutes. 11 is going to be Palmer versus Everton at home. Now look, Everton is ass, but Palmer's goals were so good that I had to give him top 18. The first one was fucking gross. Nutmegging behind the back pass and then finishing it off by sliding it perfectly into the bottom corner. The third goal was from way out, and he lofted it beautifully over Pickford. It was a dominant performance, and in less than half an hour, he already had a hat trick before adding the last goal. You can't deny how good this kid is. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm calling him a kid. He's literally older than me. I don't know why I do that shit with athletes. Anyway, on to the top 10. I know you probably got a few performances on your mind that you think 100% have to be here. Don't worry. I got you. I think. At number 10, we have Florian Wirtz versus Werder Bremen. Now, sure, Werder Bremen isn't really some formidable German giant, but this one is kind of high because of the context. If Leverkusen win this game, they win their first league title after years of heartbreak. Wirtz is subbed on and in one half scores a hat-trick. Both of his last goals, the fans flooded the pitch. The second to last one, they calmed down and left so the game could continue. But the last one, they couldn't contain themselves anymore, and the ref just said, fuck it, game over, it's 5-0 anyway. Also, his first goal was a fucking piss missile. He came on and turned the whole stadium up. 9 is Fabian Ruiz versus Croatia. A great assist to Morata to open Spain's score in this tournament. Then literally like minutes later, he dances through Croatia's defense and slaps in another one. Put the dagger in Croatia's heart before they could even properly get their tournament started. He really could have won player of the tournament for Spain, if we're being real. At 8, I'm going to give it to Odegaard versus Chelsea. This performance is funny because even though he had 2 assists, that still doesn't show just how much he was really carving Chelsea up. It's so laughable when people try to shit on Odegaard, especially Arsenal fans themselves trying to get this guy replaced because of overanalyzing and tactics bullshit. It's genuinely hilarious. 8 chances created, including 2 big chances, 8 duels won, 2 assists, and a 5-0 win. That's my captain. 7 is going to go to Lunin against RB Leipzig in the round of 16. Madrid literally don't even make it to the quarterfinals without this guy. He put on a shot-stopping clinic this game. The fact that he's their second keeper isn't even fair, bruh. First leg against Leipzig away, and he makes 9 saves. Leipzig had a 2.44 expected goal total and scored nothing. Crazy performance. 6 is going to be Madrid again, this time Vinny Jr. against Bayern in the second leg of the semis. No goals, no assists, but Joshua Kimmich will be the first one to tell you that doesn't matter at all. That boy got blitzed. Vinny had him pop locking on that right wing. I don't even know how to describe it. There was one point this game where Vinny went directly at him like 4 times in a row, and Kimmich literally dookied himself over and over and over. I was in front of my TV cheerleading like a groupie. Don't make fun of my boy Saka, bitch ass nigga. This is one of those games you watch and just think, yeah, he's the best winger in the world, no question. We move on to the top 5, and shocker, it's still Real Madrid. Back to Lunin again for the 5th spot, who put up another unreal performance against City in the second leg of the quarterfinal. This time he made 8 saves, which was 1 less than against Leipzig, but he was actually under assault for 120 straight minutes by one of the best attacking teams in Prem history. So I don't think it's a question that this performance was better. Not to mention the 2 penalty saves on the shootout that gave Madrid the victory. To be fair, Silva's penalty was dog shit, but he still had to stay put and not dive to save it, so yeah. At 4, I'm going to give it to Bukayo Saka versus Switzerland in the Euro quarterfinals. Of course, there was the brilliant strike to equalize and save England from doom late, but even before that, he was brilliant. Unfortunately, certain English strikers barely make runs. Kane. But down that right side, Saka was electric. I swear if Watkins is in the game, he ends up with like 2 assists. He looked unstoppable for a good while. Completed all 4 of his attempted dribbles, won 9 of his 13 duels, sliced in the equalizer, and then scored his penalty to top it all off. At 3, we got Joao Cancelo against Porto in the UCL group stage. We've talked about this performance on this channel so many times before. The significance of it with Porto basically bullying Barca for the first half hour of that game, Barca's chances of making it out of the group stage being at risk if they lost. Then Cancelo stepped up and went insane. Scored right after Porto and was insane creatively for the rest of the match. Assisted the winner and was pulling all kind of tricks out of his ass. Whipped out a crazy Trivela pass that Lewandowski ruined with his rapidly developing bozo gene. Created 5 chances, completed 6 dribbles, and won 13 duels. Monster performance to drag Barca through, and it turned out to be one of the most important of the season because they lost their last group stage game. Number 2 is going to be Sancho against PSG in the first leg of their UCL semifinal. This game is the prime example of a perfect performance without a goal or assist. 13 dribbles completed, and you might say, oh, he was doing a bunch of nothing with the ball, but that's not true at all. He was doing nasty work. He still created chances. They just weren't finished, and I don't think that should be a stain on his performance at all, because it's still nuts what he was doing. Mendes was getting stripped and beaten on that right wing. I know he went home with his ACLs loose as shit. Dortmund got the win and then won in the second leg too to advance, but that Sancho performance was something different. I really wish I could see Ten Hag's face while watching this shit. Finally though, coming in first place on this list is, you guessed it, Vinicius Jr. again, this time against Girona in La Liga. Now, before this game, Girona was second, just 2 points behind Madrid, and if they won, they'd go top of the league. Vinny went out there and utterly emasculated Girona's right back. Jan Couto, I think his name is. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but fuck it. This shit must have been a humiliation ritual or something. Vinny was responsible in some way for all 4 of Madrid's goals. Put up a ridiculous goal when they gave him too much space to open the scoring. Later on, he fed Jude with a crazy Trivela pass too that he scored on. Then he spent the rest of the game knocking Jan Couto's ankles loose. Even the one goal that he didn't score or assist on was because of him. He fried him, slid past him, and then put up a shot that was saved and Jude swept it in. But he was literally crying after the game. Shit, I would be crying too. Boy, you just got barbecued. Savinho in the back like, damn, look at this bitch ass nigga. It was even worse because allegedly Madrid was scouting him and this was like an audition. Let's just say it didn't go well. Who do you think should have made the list? Who was missing? Who was too high? And who was too low? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all next time.